The story starts with a person floating through a strange space. They are tired and in pain, and they are afraid to take a step into the light. Is this the afterlife? I guess we will have to wait and see. Then, this person comes back to life as a baby at a temple in a fantastical realm. He still remembers things from his past life, but they are far away and fuzzy. He sees 3 intimidating, mystical life forms around him. There was a skeleton, a mummy, and a ghost of a sorcerer. So, he cries a lot because he is scared they are going to kill him. Nonetheless, they end up taking care of him and raising him. They named him William, and when he turns 6 months old, he can understand most of what they say, even though he can't talk yet. For the first time, the mummy takes him outside of the temple, where William starts to cry, because the outside world is so beautiful. He thought at first that he was in hell and being punished for living such a meaningless life, but now he knows he was wrong. This is not a punishment. It is God's grace. He could read and write like an adult by the time he was 3 years old. The ghost, whose name is Gus, tells him about the world's history and how magic works. William thinks that Gus is a little strange and bossy, but he is smarter than anyone else he has met. Gus shows William how powerful words can be. He says that these words have power whether they are spoken or written. For example, when you write the word dignies, it means fire, but when you write Arash you're after it, the fire goes out. The mummy then takes William to a room with statues of the gods they worship. The Earth Mother was called Mater, and the god of fire was called Blaze. Volt was the god of justice and lightning. There are a few more statues, but one of them stands out to him. The child of the lightning god Vol and the Earth Mother Mater is the goddess of light. Her name is Graceful. The mummy, whose name is Mary, says that the Earth Mother Mater is the god of raising children and the earth's gifts. Because of this, she says, Mater is the most important goddess, and people in rural areas especially honor her. William asks Mary if she prays every day to the Earth Mother. Mary dodges the question by telling William that it's time to eat. At dinner, the skeleton named Blood tells William that when he's older, he'll teach him how to hunt. However, Gus wants William to learn magic first, saying that he might be just as smart as him. Blood unruly says, what if he grows up to be a miserly old man like you, but with a bigger brain? William thinks Blood looks scary, but he likes him because he keeps things enjoyable and entertaining. William always gets bread from Mary with his meals, so he asks her where she gets it, but she doesn't tell him. The 3 of them keep a lot of secrets, such as why they live, why there are no other humans besides William, and why they are still alive. Since he was born, William has only met the 3 of them. He has a lot of questions, but he can't bring himself to ask them because he's hiding something from them also, that he is a person who remembers his past life. When William is a bit older, he has to go through hard training that involves blood. He says that we need to build your strength and stamina first because skills are useless without strength. William learns swordsmanship and how to hunt in the forest from Blood. He learns magic from Gus. He is working on his pronunciation, and he is being told that words change and that no one can say the same word twice exactly the same way. Gus says that he will start by learning how to use minor magic correctly and skillfully, but that he needs to do his best to get by without it. When William asks him how, Gus says, money. William wants to know how a ghost can care so much about money, but Gus says that money is important because it is what keeps the world going. He says that if you have enough money, you can do anything without magic. When he thinks about counting gold coins, he gets very excited. William learns about different traces from Mary. She tells him that the 3 of them used to be humans, but before they died, they held on to strong feelings that led them to make a deal with the god of the undead. The next day, Blood tells William that since he is almost 8 years old, it's time for him to start real-life training. William says that I'll die if you hit me with your crazy strength. Blood tells him not to worry and challenges William to a duel. William can put up a good fight with Blood by using a mix of magic and swordsmanship. He uses the power of words, but because he has never fought before, he can't beat Blood. Blood says that he still has a long way to go, but he is surprised by how well he is doing. Then he finds out that Gus used to be known as the Wandering Sage. He has killed monsters, stopped rivers from raging, and found old languages that were used to make magic. Blood used to be called the War Ogre, and Mary was called Mater's daughter. Even though they are dead, William thinks of them as his family. His father is Blood, his mother is Mary, and his grandfather is Gus. When he comes back from training one day, he sees Mary take a piece of bread from a room. He was told not to go into that room, but he couldn't help himself. When he did, he saw Mary's whole body on fire. He runs to save Mary because he is afraid she will die, but in the process he hurts his arms badly. His arms were badly burned and Mary feels bad that she kept secrets. Even though his hands will get better, they will always have scars. Gus tells William that the bread is a gift from the Earth Mother, Mater. This makes William ask, "Why did you burn?" Mary explains that it's because she turned into a walking corpse, an undead, and betrayed the Earth Mother Mater. The god of death called Stagnate is the enemy of the Earth Mother Mater. Since the three of them made a deal with him, they burn when they come into contact with Mater's divine presence. William is now 13 years old, so his training is getting harder and harder as he gets older. Blood takes the body of a low-level demon and gives it to William so he can practice. William quickly kills the demon with a slash that impresses Blood. Blood decides to speed up his training by taking him to the ruined city where humans and dwarves used to live, but is now a dangerous place full of wandering undead. Blood puts him in a cave by himself as a test. Several of the dead show up, but William is able to easily kill them all. Now he has to find the way out. But on the way he runs into an undead lizard demon, which is stronger than any other enemy he's faced because it can also use magic. He thinks about going around it or taking a different path, but then he thinks about what Blood would do and faces the demon with courage. The lizard demon tries to use magic, but thanks to what Gus taught him, he can stop it and use his sword to attack. Even though his sword broke when it hit the lizard demon, his attack killed it anyway. Since his sword is broken, he takes the dwarven-made magic spear from the zombie he just killed. Gus then shows up with an empty look on his face and uses his words to call a golem to fight William. William beats the golem easily, but he doesn't understand why Gus is trying to kill him. Just as William is about to strike Gus, he stops and says, "Hurting you would make me feel worse than dying." Then Gus apologizes and tells him that he took that lesson a little too far. William is surprised that Gus is trying to say that everything happened as a lesson, but he doesn't say anything and they go back to the temple. William notices that Gus hasn't talked about what happened in the cave. He thinks there must be a reason why Gus won't talk about it, so he decides not to tell Blood or Mary. Then, Gus talks to William alone and tells him that Blood is going to challenge him to a serious duel. Gus wants William to figure out how to lose the duel without Blood noticing. Gus won't tell him why, and he wants to know. William gets very angry with Gus and tells him he can't help him with the duel. On his way out, he says, "I act like I didn't hear a word you just said." William runs to the room with the statues of the gods, where Mary tells him that Blood worships the god of fire, Blaze, and Gus worships a god named Whirl who is the god of the wind. Blood promised Blaze that he would train every day and get stronger. Mary, on the other hand, promised her mother that she would live in a way that would honor her. Mary tells William that Gus swore to the wind god that he would do whatever he wanted and enjoy life because he hates being tied down. After a few years, we can see that William has changed a lot. It's nighttime, and he just got done training with Blood. Blood brings them some alcohol that he made himself, and after they both get drunk, he suggests that they sneak a peek at Mary while she's changing. William walks over and opens the door while they are watching her. Mary asks Blood what the hell he was thinking when he made William drink, and Blood dodges the question by saying that we were just going to take a look while you changed. William says that I told him we shouldn't, but an angry Mary slaps him. The next day, Blood and William fight very hard. His attacks are like a storm, making it hard for William to strike without getting hit. But then he does an epic move by using his shield to block Blood's sword so he can use it as a ramp to take him down. Will was about to strike, but Blood easily stopped it. William gives in, and Blood says that not having muscles is really a bad thing. Then, as a surprise, Blood gives him the most powerful demon blade he owns. William is confused because he didn't win, but Blood tells him it's to celebrate his new freedom. The sword is called Overeater, and every time it cuts a living thing, the person holding it uses up some life force. He also says that the more he uses it, the more dependent he'll become until he's so weak that there's nothing left of him, which is probably part of what makes it a demon blade. Mary and Blood decide to tell him the truth about the king now that he is old enough to understand. About 200 years ago, demon kings tried to take over their continent. The demon kings led a big revolt, and a huge army of demons invaded the continent. This meant that the continent was full of demon kings and generals. In a number of big rituals, these swarms of demons gave huge amounts of flesh and blood to their god, the god of dimensions. The High King went on a rampage in their continent, and Blood says that how he is described don't even come close to the truth. He also says that his abilities were completely insane. He could turn any amount of his blood into soldiers and any amount of his flesh into commanders. In other words, he turned his own flesh and blood into demons. He can only be hurt by blades. Even arrows and magic wouldn't hurt him. Blood says that Overeater was his favorite weapon, which shocks William. Mary says that over time, he became known as the High King, which means king of all kings. Blood says that even with Gus' magic and Mary's blessing, he couldn't beat the High King, And since he's undead and can't grow, his sword skills can't get any better. Since Mary and Gus couldn't kill the High King, they put a seal on him and buried him deep in the ground. Then we find out that Gus, Mary, Blood, and their contract with Stagnate make them stay in this city. If they agreed to join his army of the dead, he would kill all the demons in the city and give them immortal bodies so they could protect the seal. William finds out that he was supposed to be a sacrifice to break the High King's seal. However, after the demons who brought him to them were killed, they decided to keep him and raise him like one of their own. They thought that humans had died out, but since the demons were able to bring William there must be a place near by where people still live. William now knows why he is there. He is about to go to a country where people live through the Great Uprising. A few moments later, Mary and Blood tell William they love him and that he is a strong, smart boy. William doesn't understand why it sounds like they're saying their last goodbyes. Suddenly, a demonic portal opens in the sky, and the High King comes out. He asks them if they've said their goodbyes because he's here to take Blood and Mary's souls. William is paralyzed so much that he can't even move, but then Gus shows up. He tells William to take Blood and Mary and leave, saying that he is going to stop the High King. Gus uses his strongest magic and, or so he thinks, gets rid of the High King. Gus, Mary, and Blood are all paralyzed at once by the High King. We find out that the High King split his power between two bodies just in case something like this happened. He only keeps William and offers him a deal. If he joins his army of the dead, he will let him live with his dead family forever. He gives William until evening to think about it. William goes to see the High King at night to tell him what he has decided. He says in a brave way, "I'm not giving you anything, so let Stagnate call his army of the dead." William's skills impress his Stagnate, so he stops his army of the dead and asks him again to join him because he has grown fond of him. He tells William, "You can be a general in my army of the dead." He then cuts himself and tells William to drink his blood. When it looks like William is going to agree, he pulls out the sword Blood gave him and attacks Stagnate. However, the High King sends out a demon snake that bites William, sending him to a strange place where he seems to have been before. He finds the goddess of light, and in the end, he makes a deal with her. As long as he doesn't change his mind, the goddess will protect and guide him. When he wakes up, Stagnate is upset that he made an oath with Graceful because he wanted William to join his group. The dead come after William, but they can't beat Overeater. William is left wondering where Stagnate went after he disappears in a cloud of dust. Graceful then shows up, turns to face William, and points toward the temple. Then, he uses his ability to speed up to get there as quickly as possible. When they found out that the High King was looking for Blood and Mary, the High King is about to kill Blood when William gets there. William tries to stop him, but he knows he won't make it in time. Suddenly, a goddess William doesn't know shows up, and after saying goodbye, he realizes that the Earth Mother never hated Mary for taking Stagnate's deal. When Mary starts to cry, Stagnate casts a lightning spell at William, but William uses his magic to stop it. He then uses this chance to charge at Stagnate with his sword and hit him with a series of vicious blows. He ends up defeating the High King, and when we see him completely disappear, everyone is very happy and congratulates William. However, as they are about to leave, Mary and Blood fall to the ground. They tell William that their time is over because they won't sell their souls to Stagnate. William starts crying and asks what he can do because he doesn't want to lose them. But they calm him down and tell him there's nothing he can do, but they're proud of who he's become and want him to stay on the right path. Then he starts to see pictures of them when they were humans above their heads. Then Gus comes, and the four of them have a good time together for the last time. When Blood and Mary die, the goddess will take their souls, and they will die and be reborn again. The end. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Take care and see you again soon.